more. Does that sound familiar to anybody? There are 3 serious repercussions of being discontent with your possessions and always chasing more. Number 1, it wrecks your integrity. It wrecks your integrity. James is writing to believers who sought to gain status and self-worth on the basis of cash rather than character. And that's always a hollow endeavor. James is well aware that these greedy individuals have tarnished their reputations, not just in the community, but in the church. Because Proverbs 22:1 says, a good name is more desirable than great riches. To be esteemed is better than silver or gold. One writer says the journey to integrity requires 3 things. Number 1, it requires the cultivation of a desire that says, I want to do good more than I want to do well. Secondly, it requires a decision that I will choose to play with integrity and lose rather than cheat and win. And thirdly, it requires a belief. I cannot succeed in what I do and fail in who I am. Psychologist Martin Seligman writes, the belief that we can rely on shortcuts to happiness, joy, rapture, comfort, and ecstasy, rather than be entitled to these feelings by exercise of personal strengths and virtues, leads to legions of people who in the middle of great wealth are starving spiritually. I want you to listen to what he says. Positive emotion, alienated from the exercise of character, leads to emptiness, to inauthenticity, to depression, and as we age, to the gnawing realization that we are fidgeting until we die. You know anybody that's fidgeting until they die? Secondly, James says, when you pursue more and more constantly, it will ruin your relationship with others. Earlier in this letter, James addresses the tendency we have to judge others. In chapter 4, verse 11, James says, brothers and sisters, do not tell evil lies about each other. If you speak against your fellow believers or judge them, you are judging and speaking against the law they follow. And when you're judging the law, you're no longer a follower of the law. You have become a judge. God is the only lawmaker and judge. He is the only one who can save and destroy, so it's not right for you to judge your neighbor. I want to flip this for just a moment. I think this applies to judging people about how they spend or use their money. It's very dangerous and unhealthy for us to speculate about how other people spend or use their money. Quite frankly, it's none of our business what other people do with their money. I will be held accountable for what I do with what God has entrusted to my care. You will be held accountable for what you do with what God has entrusted to your care. But it's so easy for us to get caught up in petty comparisons. Even when we come here to a place of worship, we can begin playing the game devised by the devil himself when he whispers in your ear, did you see the car they got out of? You can't tithe and buy a car like that. Or look at all the jewelry she's wearing.